you've been following me around for 30 years, and what they didn't hear was that you were only interested in my stories, which was a very great disappointment to me, you know. So there you go.
But I'm very interested in the stories. Very interested
Oh,
in them.
that's fabulous.
So Paddy, we've been having great fun in the background, myself, yourself, and Cara, bringing this online. But I suppose it's quintessentially Listowel's thing that we're bringing online, and it's been a great
Yes.
joy. One of the things that I would ask everybody, and I'm going to ask Paddy to support me, is to get the link of it's called a playlist when everybody is together, and we're going to do one a month. But for all the people out there that are feeling lonely or cut off, this is an absolute gem of a session, and even to have the bit of chat. That's why people come to the live session, is to be able to have these little chats in between and at the end. So, Paddy, I can't wait to see what you have in
There
store.
you always say that.
I know, and I'm never disappointed.
You say that to everyone.
Never.
But I
Go
just
on.
want to tell you, I've been in love with Listowel for about 25 years.
Yeah.
And I just wandered into John B's one time, and I got the nicest compliment that I ever got from a Kerryman. And the Kerryman was John B himself. And it was given in a kind of a left-handed Kerry way, because I got talking to Billy anyway. And I've done a lot of stuff over the years. So I said I do a one-man show in Keen's Pub. So the time came anyway, and I did the one-man show. And John and Mary came down, and they sat there in the little caboose under Johnny Sexton's Irish jersey, and they watched me in performance. And the place was packed, and it was a great night. And Billy came over to me afterwards, and he said, "The dad thought you were great, Pad. The dad thought you were great." And I said, "Billy, what did he actually say?" And he said, I went over to him and I said, "Dad, what did you think of Paddy?" And John B said, "I can find no fault with him." which was, it was, which was lovely. But as you all know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm finding this a little bit difficult because I'm normally, um, I normally live off a live audience and the reaction of a live audience to what I'm doing. So I'm not really a Seanchaoi. Well, I'm a contemporary Seanchaoi in that I comment on the foibles, peccadillos, and idiosyncrasies of the human condition. Now, under normal circumstances, that gets a woo-hoo. So I'm going to do it again, and I want you all to woo-hoo. Okay? No,
Woohoo!
no, wait a minute. I'll give you the cue. Hold on, Maria. Hold on a second. Jeez. Follow my direction, Maria. Something you don't normally do. So I'm a storyteller who normally doesn't talk about the old times, but concentrates on the foibles, peccadillos, and idiosyncrasies of the human condition.
Woohoo!
Woo!
Great. And I want to tell you a little bit about Maria's background because she's a Norrie, a person who lives on the north side of Cork. And like Listowel people, they are a race apart. And so I'm going to tell you a couple of stories or a little couple of stories about the character of the north side people, commonly known as Norries. Very proud of the fact, very honest, hardworking, generally working class people, and proud of being working class. And I generally do a sketch on, when you went dancing long ago, you'd set your eye on a girl of your dreams, and in Cork anyway, she'd always have a pal, and the pal went everywhere the girl went, and your objective was, of course, to separate the two of them, get the girl on her own. But the pal turned up, and if the girl was pretty, the pal would be plain, you know. And so the girl always got the fella in the end. And if you ever listen to North Side girls who were the girl, they'll always say, "My fella does this, and my fella does that, and my fella does the other." The pal got a partner as well. He wasn't the fella was the handsome one. The pal got the butty. He was a pal, he wasn't the sharpest tool in the box. He was probably fairly plain and fairly talking fairly directly. I mean, I think Percy French caught it perfectly about two daughters that he had. Uh, um, and he wrote a song called McBreen's Heifer. And if you join with me in this, it sums the thing up perfectly. One, two, three. There was no denying Kitty was remarkably pretty, but I can't say the same for Jane. And still there's the differ of the price of a heifer between the pretty and the plain. So there you get the general picture. So the girl married the fella and did very well, and the pal married the butty. And while between the girl and the fella, it was all romance and roses and honeymoons in the arg in the and Tiles, uh, the pal and the butty went he all. That was the kind of the way it was, and not the sharpest tool in the box. And I mean, they got married, and married was that's a kind of a limited kind of description of it. So not really much romance, just living together. Frances referred to it earlier on when she was talking to us. And so very direct. I mean, she turned to him one night and he was very direct. And, as I say, not the sharpest tool in the box. And she says, darling, darling. Oh, yeah. And during this, I'll do the accent that's common on the north side of the city. So you'll understand it. Maria is fairly refined in this regard, don't you know? But on the north side of the city,
Careful now, careful.
a totally different accent. So she turned to him one night and she said, yeah, darling, yes, love, yes. She says, would you still love me if we won the lotto? And he said, of course I'd love you. Of course I'd love you. I'd miss you, but I'd still love you. Yeah? And of course, they did win a few bob in the lotto. So he got the butty, Maya. He got an iPad for the daughter, latest high tech. And he got an iPod for the son, latest tech. And he got the latest ironing board for the wife. And there was murder in the house. And he's not the sharpest tool. He said, what? Jesus, what? I got you all presents. And they said, an iPad for me, an iPod for her, and a new ironing board for Mammy. Are you mad? What? So they said to him, you'll have to go and get some counselling if you really don't understand what we're about. So he went off for counselling anyway, and he told his story to the counsellor. And the counsellor said, well, now, we have a phrase here. You really peed on the chips, Mr. Murphy, on this occasion. You'll have to make some significant form of reparation or gesture to your beloved. So he said, oh, gee, I'm in the doghouse. Of course, I want to make reparation. Of course, I want to make reparation. I'll do anything. So the psychiatrist, the counselor said, what is your wife's favorite flower? Oh, see, no problem with that. Odlums. See, so again, very honest people and pay their bills. So, and of course, being a North Sider, he had pigeons, and he had a dog, and the dog got lost. So he put an ad for the dog in the Cork Examiner, and 3 months later, the ad for the lost dog had not been paid. So a representative from the Cork Examiner, which is a fairly posh place to work in Cork, came up and knocked on his door on the north side of the city. And he went out and he said, yeah, what's the matter with you? What? He said, I'm here from the Cork Examiner. I'm a sales representative with the Examiner. And I'm here about an ad that you placed in the lost animals section of our paper and 3 months ago, and it hasn't been paid. The man says, we owe nothing. We pays our bills. We owe nothing. So your man said, well, look, I'll just read it to you here. It's a brindle pup, blind in one eye, ear bitten off, lame in the left foot, and scorched along the right flank. And it answers to the name of Lucky. Yeah, he said, that's the pup. All right, that's the pup. That's the pup. Well, he says, I'm afraid the bill is still outstanding. He says, we were nothing. That dog came back on his own. So later in life, he was, again, going on maybe not the sharpest tool. He was having a pint with a friend of his, and the friend said, "Do you know what? There's a big issue now with men's health, and I'm deciding to pay a bit of attention to it, and I decided to have a full examination, the head, the chest, the lungs, the whole lot, what I would call the pole to hole examination. That's what the doctor called it." And he said, "Do you know what? At this age of my life now, 55, I'm going to have a circumcision." Oh, and your man says, "All right. I'd one of those when I was a couple of days old." This is the butty. "I'd one of those when I was a couple of days old." And your man says, "Did it hurt?" And he says, "'Tis long ago now. I mean, 'tis, Jesus, 50 years ago now. But I don't really remember. But I'll tell you this much. I know I couldn't walk for a year after it." You know? So, so their neighbors went to Santa Panza for a holiday. The husband went. And he was in Santa Panza for a week in his Cork hurling jersey and a pair of flip flops and the handkerchief folded on top of his head, and he died. Now that normally gets an awe with a live audience, so I want you to do the same, right? So he was over in Santa Panza having a great time, got a slight tan, and at the end of a week he dropped dead. Oh, very
Oh
good.
my
And
God.
they shipped him home to Cork.
Well,
And the butty and the pal went to see him in the funeral home because he was a neighbour. And she had and he had a tan from the week he was away. And she says, "Maya, do you know what? That holiday did him the world of good. And he has a smile on his face. What has he got the smile on his face for?" So Maya said, "I'll tell you what, no love, 'tis like this. He died of a sudden outside in Santa Panza. Dropped dead like that. And really, he has a smile on his face because he doesn't know he's dead. But I'd say if he wakes up and discovers he's dead, I'd say the shock will kill him. No. So they decided to go to the wake. There was a wake being held in the house. And they stopped in for a few pints before they went up to the house for the wake. And they went into the house. And where was the corpse? The corpse was standing up in the corner. And the woman said to the pal said to the woman of the house, "In the name of God, what's he doing standing up in the corner?" And the woman of the house said, "There's a wake on here." She said, "Why isn't he laid out in the bed?" She said, "There's a wake on here. The place is packed. Where would we put the coats? Where would we put the coats?" So, so the pal said, "You can't have him standing up in the corner like that. Look, get 3 chairs and put him there side by side, and we'll put him lying on the 3 chairs." And so Maya was a bit away from her, and she says, "Maya, I'll take care of that now," she said to the woman of the house. "I'll take care of that." She says, "Maya, could we have 3 chairs for the corpse?" And he said, "No problem, love. Hip, 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 hip." And that's, I hope you have
Oh,
enhanced your cultural understanding of what it is like to be a Nari.
I the cheek of you taking my poor old narrydom across the coals like that, but I had to laugh. It was very funny.
So there. Thanks
Oh,
very much.
Paddy, thank you very much.
I'm loving the evening.
Good. I'm delighted, and Paddy, you can help me here. Now there's a woman watching in the wings, and her name is Anne Doran, and it's her birthday today. So I'm going to sing happy birthday to
All
her.
right. Well, that's a perfect opportunity. I lead it, Maria.
Very
So
good.
ready? Follow my lead
Go on.
now.
Yeah.
All together now. And her name is Anne, is it?
Anne Doran, yeah.
Anne Dorn. So 1, 2, 3. Happy
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 birthday
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 to
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 you.
you.
you. Happy
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 birthday
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 to
to
to you.
you.
you. Happy
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 birthday,
birthday,
Anne
dear.
Doran.
birthday.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to you.
you.
And a
Big
great
round of applause
big
for Anne Doran.